The designers behind Volvo's XC70 were the first to realise that a large all-wheel drive estate car with a modicum of off-road ability and SUV styling cues could tempt buyers who couldn't quite stomach the thought of a fully fledged 4x4. In this much improved second generation guise, it offers an efficient Drive-E D4 diesel engine for owners happy to stick with two-wheel drive, and across the range continues to offer either a stepping stone or an alternative to SUV ownership.
With a high centre of gravity and near 2.4 tonnes of gross weight, the XC70 was never going to be the ultimate driver's car. But you could argue that it's close to being the ultimate driver's compromise. Unless the optional 4C active suspension system has, rather unwisely, encouraged you to throw the thing around, you'll find it pretty much like a standard V70 to drive day to day, complete with slightly vague steering and ride quality that's better at higher speeds than it is around town. Yet venture onto the dirt and you'll probably find that it will do 90% of what most SUV owners require. You shouldn't read too much into that, as in general these requirements don't tend to be too onerous. Still, a raised 210mm ride height that sees this car sitting 59mm higher than a standard V70, and to suit the seasons, an appropriate set of winter tyres, should both help your XC70 deal with muddy car parks and snowy snaps in its stride. So far so good then. But you might notice that I've got this far without mentioning the feature that you might expect to define this car: all-wheel drive. That's because the entry-level D4 Drive-E 2-litre diesel version I'm driving here doesn't have it. So in choosing this base XC70 variant, you're essentially paying quite a lot over the cost of the brand's standard V70 model for plastic body cladding and an increased ride height. Every other XC70 model in the lineup does feature all-wheel drive, but that Drive-E power plant I just mentioned isn't fitted to any of these variants because in its initial guise, almost unforgivably, it wasn't engineered to work with a 4x4 drive layout. In this case, a sophisticated Haldex setup using an electronically controlled hydraulic clutch to distribute drive to whichever wheels can best handle it. The Drive-E unit's absence across the majority of the XC70 range is a huge pity, as this 181 brake horsepower new generation engine is, in almost every other respect, the ideal power plant for this car. 62 miles an hour from rest occupies just 8.8 seconds en route to 130 miles an hour, and there's a potent 400 newton meters of torque, so it's virtually as fast and responsive as the priciest diesel in the lineup, the most powerful 215 brake horsepower 2.4 litre D5 XC70 variant. Yet it's significantly more frugal and economic. What I'm saying then is that if you can justify buying this Volvo without all-wheel drive, then the 2-litre two-wheel drive D4 diesel package works very well. Many potential XC70 customers, though, will see drive to four wheels as being a non-negotiable, and for them there are three further engine choices in the lineup that can be matched to all-wheel drive. The old 2.4-litre Ford-derived diesel continues on just for 4x4 customers in 181 brake horsepower guise, where, rather confusingly, it's also badged D4, and in 215 brake horsepower guise, where it's badged D5. The XC70's rugged SUV styling cues are just enough to set it apart from its more restrained V70 model stablemate. As well as the scratch-proof protective cladding along the car's flanks and arches, there are chunky front bumpers and chromed door scuff plates. XC embossed roof rails are a standard fitment, and purposeful silver front and rear skid plates leave onlookers in no doubt as to this car's dual-purpose role. At the rear, there's a completely redesigned bumper along with smarter tail lights. Overall, though, Volvo hasn't been diverted from this car's raison d'etre, lugging gear. Raise the optionally powered tailgate and a 575-litre boot is revealed. Up front, you'll find a cabin built to withstand a lifetime of hard use. With smart and durable fixtures and fittings, it isn't only the engines that are rugged. At the wheel, you don't get the high driving position that Volvo XC60 and XC90 owners love, but with multiple adjustment possibilities for both seat and steering wheel, it's easy to find the perfect driving position, and the seats are amongst the most comfortable you'll come across. However you choose to exactly classify it, this XC70 is an executive class car, but it needn't come with executive segment operating costs. Quite the opposite, in fact. What if I were to tell you that the fuel and CO2 costs of running one of these could be about the same as a little 1.5 litre Ford Fiesta diesel Super Mini? Well, that's just what I'm going to tell you. Fitted with Volvo's latest generation Drive-E 2-litre diesel engine, an XC70 D4 two-wheel drive variant, like the one I'm trying here, delivers 62.8 miles to the gallon on the combined cycle and 117 grams per kilometre of CO2. That's significantly better than you'd achieve in any one of this model's direct rivals. In the final analysis, this XC70 is everything you'd expect a go-anywhere Volvo estate to be. Not especially dynamic to drive, but rugged, practical, beautifully engineered and supremely reliable. It's very Scandinavian.